Hello guys, so this is going to be the first lecture of the section 5 of introductory course on C++. So in this section we will get familiar with arrays and strings in C++. Okay, so let's first talk about arrays. Okay, so what are arrays? Okay, so arrays are a linear data structure. Okay, a linear data structure. It is these uh, so arrays are the linear data structures which are used to store uh, multiple values, multiple, okay, sorry, they're used to store multiple values, okay, multiple values of same data type, okay, of same data type, okay. Now what do I mean by, you know, they're used for the storage purposes, okay. So let's look at the example, okay. So let us suppose we want to store three values, okay, three values, integer values. So what we need to do is we need to create three variables, okay, int a comma b comma c, and then we are going to store values. Let's say the first variable has value 10, the second variable has a value 20, third variable has a value uh, 30, okay. So instead of declaring and initializing multiple variables with multiple values, what we can do is we can simply create an array and we can store all three integer values in that, since they all are having same data type, right? All are of the type integer. So to store multiple values, okay, that's why I've written this thing. So to store multiple values of same data type, we are going to use arrays, okay. Now what is the syntax of defining an array or declaring an array? Okay, so syntax is going to be something like this. We give the data type. So let's say we want to create an integer array, so we'll give the data type int, okay. Then we'll give the name of the array. Let's say we want to name it as arr, okay. So we'll give the name of the array. Then we will, you know, right, you know, then we'll put some we'll put two big brackets, and inside this big brackets we'll give the size of the array, okay, how much integer uh, values it should store, okay. So let's say I give it a size, okay, let me erase this first. So let's say I give it a value, I give it a value 4, okay. So this integer array is going to store 4 integers, okay. This is going to store 4 integers, okay, and all of them are having data type as integer, okay. So let's say, so what is going to be the, how the array actually looks like, okay. So an array looks like this, okay. So it is a contiguous data structure, or we can say the elements or the values stored in the arrays in the contiguous locations, okay. So this is somewhat the structure of arrays, okay. Now let's suppose we have defined an array arr of size 4, okay. So it will have 4 boxes, okay, like this, okay, to store 4 elements, okay, and each box has an index, okay. So this will have an index 0 from the start. The start element, or the first element of the array, has the index 0, and it keeps incrementing while moving right, okay. So it becomes 1 here, it becomes 2, and it becomes 3. Now there are 4 boxes to store 4 integer values, and each box has an index, okay, incrementing from left to right, okay. So first box has the index 0, okay, it is always there, like the first element is always going to have an index 0, okay. Why indexing is done in the array? So this is called indexing, okay. So indexing in the array is done in order to access that particular element in the array, okay. So let us suppose this is an array arr of size 4, right, that we have defined. Let's say the first element that we have stored here is 11, okay. Let's say the second element is 13, let's say the third element is 0, and let's say the fourth element is 5th, okay. So to access any particular element in the array, we use their particular index. Okay, so first element is always represented by index 0, and then the index keeps on incrementing as we go right in the array. Okay, so for an array of size 4, let's say if we want to access its uh, first element. Okay, so for the first element, if we want to print the first element, we'll write something like this: cout the name of the array, and the inside this big bracket we'll write the index. So the index of first element, which is 11, is 0, so we'll write 0. Okay, and then okay, so this will print the first element, which is 11. Okay, this will give the output as 11. Okay, let's try to test it. Okay, so let's get back to the Visual Studio Code. Okay, now let's define a array. Okay, let's create a program. Okay, so arrays. Okay, .cpp. Okay, so let's write the boilerplate code now. Okay, okay, so let's say we create an array of type integer. Okay, int arr, and let's say we give it a size 4. Okay, and inside this array we'll give the value this way. Okay, let's say the first value is 11, second value is 13, third value is 0, and fourth value is 5. Okay, and lastly we'll close it with this statement with a semicolon. Okay, now if we want to print the first element, so the first element would have index 0, right? So let's try to print it. We'll give the name of the array, then inside this big bracket we'll give the index. So index of first element is 0. I already told you that. Okay, so 0 and endl. Okay, now let's try to print this. So it prints 11 on the screen, which is the first element. Okay, similarly to print the second element we'll write arr1. Okay, and to print the third element we'll write arr2, and to print the fourth element we'll write arr3. Simply remember that the position of the element -1 is going to be the index. So the position of 5 is fourth, it is the fourth element in the array, right? So the index will be 3. 4 minus 1, that is 3. Okay, so we'll write simply 3 here in order to access this element. Okay, so now if we execute again, we get 5 because at third index 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, at third index the value that is stored in the array is 5. Okay, now let's say we want to change the value of the element, okay, at particular index. So what we can do, let's say we want to change the value at index 1 to be 9. Okay, to 9. Okay, so let's change it. So we'll give arr1 equals to 9. Okay, so by doing this, the value of 13, the value at the first index, this was the 0th index, this was the first index, right? So the value at index 1, which was earlier 13, gets changed to 9. Okay, so now if we try to print the value at index 1, what we get? Okay, sorry. Okay, okay, so if we try to print the value at index 1, let's try to execute this statement when the value is not changed, and let's try to execute it when the value is changed. Okay, so the first statement is going to print 13 because the value is not yet changed. Okay, so it prints 13 as 13 is at index 1. Now the value of index 1 changes to 9, and now if we try to print the value at index 1, it gives us 9. So 13 and 9 are going to be printed on the screen. Okay, let's see. Let's try to execute this. So 13 and 9 gets printed on the screen. Now we can use for loop here. Okay, we already have learned about the for loop. Now to print all the elements of an array, we can use for loop. Okay, how do we use for loop? We can write for, let's say int x is equals to int I, let's say denotes the index. Okay, is equals to 0 because the index starts from 0, right? I is less than equal to the size, which is 4. Okay, and I plus plus, each time we increment it by 1. Okay, now not less than equals to, but less than only, because the last index is 3, right? 0, 1, 2 and 3. So last index is 3, therefore we'll only move till 3. Okay, or we can either write it as less than 4, or we can write it as less than equals to 3. Okay, yeah, we can write it both ways. Okay, So upon writing this, when we try to print cout arr of I, okay, what happens is, I for the first case becomes 0, so 11 gets printed on the screen, and then I gets incremented to 1. Okay, 1 is also less than equals to 3, so arr of 1 gets printed. Arr of I becomes 1, so 1 gets printed. Okay, so 13 gets printed in the next iteration, and then increment I is again incremented, so I becomes 2. Okay, 2 is again less than equals to 3, hence arr of 2 also gets printed, which is 0. Okay, and then I is incremented again. Okay, I becomes 4, sorry 3. Okay, and 3 is also less than, 3 is not less than, but it is equals to 3, so again arr of 3 gets printed, which is 5. Okay, so let's see the output. Okay, let's clear the terminal. Okay, let's execute the code. So all the elements of the array gets printed. In case we do not want to print them on the next line, let's give the space here. So space is given this way. Okay, we create an empty string. Okay, and then we give a space in between, so this creates a space. Okay, now let's see what will be the output. Okay, so 11 gets printed first, and then the space is given. Okay, then again the second element gets printed, then again the space is printed, then third element gets printed, and then space is given. Okay, and then finally the fourth element gets printed, and there is a space thereafter also. Okay, so yeah, this is how we can use for loop to print all the elements of any particular array. Okay, now we can also create the array of string, or array of characters, or array of boolean. Okay, let's create the array of strings. Okay, so to create the array of string, we give the data type of the data type. Okay, we give it a name. Okay, let's say we want to create a country list. Okay, okay, and let's say we give it a size 3. Okay, so I already told you that each strings are enclosed within the double quotes. Okay, let's say first country, we give it India. Okay, as the name. Let's say the second is going to be Pakistan. Okay, and let's say the third country is, let's say, China. Okay, so yeah, so we have created a string, an array of string, which are which is having the name country list, and it is having the name of 3 countries. Okay, okay, India, Pakistan, and China. So India is represented by index 0, Pakistan is represented by index 1, and China is represented by index 2. Okay, now let's try to print them as per the index. Okay, so if we want to print India, we'll have to write the name of the array, and then we'll have to give the index. Okay, so 0, India is present at the 0th index. Okay, if we try to print this, let's see what is the output. Okay, let's try to run this code. So it gives the output as India. Now if we give it the value 2, so at the index 2, China is there. Okay, this is index 1. Okay, don't get confused, this is index 1, this is index 0, since indexing starts from 0. Okay, and this is index China is at index 2. Okay, so China gets printed on the screen now. Yeah, so we got China as the output. So yeah, that was all about arrays. Okay, you can also create character arrays. Let me create one for you. So we'll give the data type, then we'll give the name of the array. Let's say we give it a name alphabets. Okay, and let's say the size is 4. Okay, we store 4 alphabets in this array. Okay, let's say we store A, then we store B. Okay, then we store C, and then finally we store D. Okay, now these arrays can also have duplicate values. Okay, let's say I again, put B here. Okay, or I again put C here. Okay, like this. So yeah, this is also possible. You can do anything. Okay, now let's say I want to change the the character value at index 2, so at index 1. So what I'll do is that I'll simply write the name of the character array. I'll give the index 1, and let's say I'll give it the value, new value. So that, let's say the new value is going to be B. Okay, now let's say we try to print the value before the change. Okay, so let's say we try to change. Let's say we try to print it before the change and after the change, and let's see what we get as the output. Okay, So earlier the value of b was value at index 1 was b, so small b gets printed, but then we change the value to capital B, and then if we try to print it, so we get capital B. So this is how we get the output. Okay, yeah. So this is all about the arrays. Now let's get back to the screen and let's talk about strings. Okay, so but before moving on to the strings, let me tell you one important thing. Okay, uh, so what happens is, in the array, when we store some number of element, let's say it is an integer array and it is having values as 11, 13, 15, 0 and 9. Okay, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the indexes, right? So these values, okay, these values are contiguous. What it means is that, let's say 11 is stored at a location 16,384. Okay, let's say this is the location, memory location where 11 is stored. Okay, so the 13 is stored at the memory location 13 is stored at the memory location just after 11. Okay, it will be stored at the memory location 16,388. Okay, because why is it so? Let's say, because the integer type of data takes 4 byte of memory normally. Okay, 4 byte of memory for the as per the machine as per the machine architecture. So this is how they are stored contiguous, in a contiguous fashion, one after the other. Okay, after 11, if we try to if we try to move ahead, we'll get 13 stored in the next memory location. If we again move ahead, we'll get 15 stored in the next memory location. If we move ahead, we'll get 0 stored in the next memory location, and if we move ahead from 0, we'll get 9 stored in the next memory location. So they are stored one after the other. Okay, yeah. So that was all about how the elements are stored within the array and what is an array. Okay, so array is simply a data structure which is used to store multiple values of same data type. You cannot store, especially in C++ I'm talking about. Okay, you cannot store an integer value, okay, and a string together in an array. Okay, you can probably do that in Python, I guess, but not in C++. Okay, in C++ you cannot do this thing. Okay, this is an error. Oh, okay, if you try to execute this program having strings and integer together, it will give you an error. Okay, so what we have to keep in mind is that an array is a data structure which is used to store multiple values having similar data type or same data type. Okay, the data type of the values should not be different. Okay, so if you are trying to store integers, so all the values in the array will be integers only. Okay, whatever will be the data type of the array. Okay, now let's move on to strings. Let me add a new page. So strings in C++. Okay, now strings are very similar to arrays. Okay, that's why I thought of teaching both of them together. Okay, so what are strings? Okay, I already told you that string is a set of character. Okay, strings are the set of characters. So let's and they are always enclosed within curly braces. Okay, curly braces. Okay, so even in the string, all the characters are stored in the blocks. Okay, so let's suppose I declare a string. So string is declared and initialized this way. So string, let's say the name of the string is S, and let's say I give it a name. Okay, I give it a name India. Okay, India. So we have declared a string and we have given it a value India. Okay, so this is the name of the string S. Okay, S is the name of the string. This is going to be the data type. Okay, data type, and this is assignment operator, and this is the value. Okay, that we have assigned to the string S. Okay, so India is the value. Now what happens is, let's say this is the string, right, enclosed within the double quote. So even in the string there is indexing. So in the string India, the capital I is at 0th index. Okay, the n is at index 1, d is at index 2, I is at index 3, and a is at index 4. Okay, so now if we try to if you want to access any particular character of the string, we just have to name the string and we just have to give the index of the particular character that we want to access. Okay, so if we write s0, if we try to print this, it will give us capital I. Let's try to do this in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so let me write the program for you. Okay, let's erase this thing. Let's create a string. Okay, so string s equals to, let's say, India. Okay, now if we want to access, if you want to print the first character, so it will be at index 0. Okay, the indexing is similar to the array. Okay, so we'll write s and we'll give the index 0 and we'll end line. Okay, we'll use end line. Let's try to execute the code and let's see what is the output. So we get capital I as the output. Okay, so this is why the indexing is in strings is similar to that in the array. Okay, now if you want to change the value, of the character, we can also do that. Okay, now how we can change the value of the character? Simply we can write the name, we can give the index at which we want to change the value. Let's say we want to change it to the smaller I. Okay, so characters are always enclosed within the single quotes. So what we'll do is that, yeah, so we'll initialize the value this way. Okay, now it is not showing any error. Okay, let's clear the terminal and let's execute the code. So smaller I, we get small I. Okay, so if we print the whole, if you want to print the whole string, we'll just give the name of the string. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, so it is printing India because we have already changed the character at the index 0. Let's say we haven't changed this till now. So what is the output? The output is going to be capital I. Okay, yeah. So now after changing this, after changing, let's say we want to change the fifth character. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll write the name of the string, we give the index of fifth character, which is 4 obviously, and let's say we want to make it capital. Okay, so yeah, this way. So now if we try to print the string again, you'll see the difference. Okay, yeah, so let's see. So for the first case, we get capital I and rest of the everything is same. Now we change the, okay, so this is the output, and then we change the fifth character, which is lying at index 4 to capital A, so it becomes capital A. Okay, yeah, so this is how we work with strings. Even in strings, the indexing could be used and we can change, these characters of the strings. Okay, now there are some inbuilt functions that we can often use with strings. Okay, so let me tell you about those inbuilt functions. Okay, so the first function that we must know about is substring function. It is denoted by substr. Okay, substr. Okay, now, okay, so now let me take you to the screen. Okay, now let's see how it works. Okay, so let us suppose we have a string, let's say name. Okay, and I have given it a name, let's say John. Okay, so string is always enclosed within double quotes. Okay, please remember that. Okay, this is very important. Now we want a small portion of this string. Let's say we want a substring of this particular string. Let's say we want from 0 index, okay, to the index 2. Okay, so what we'll do is that we can use substr function. Okay, inside substr, what is the syntax of the substr function? Okay, let me take it to the next page. Okay, so first function is substring function. Okay, substring function in C++. Okay, how do we use it? Let's suppose we have declared a string s and initialized it a value Priyansh. Okay, so now the indexing would be something like this: p at 0 index 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so yeah, this is how the indexing is done. Let me write it more clearly. A N S H. Okay, so P will have index 0, R will have index 1, I will have index 2, Y will have index 3, A will have index 4, N will have index 5, S will have index 6, and H will have index 7. Okay, now what happens is that, let's suppose we want this portion. Okay, so what we will do, uh, to get the substring, what we can do, we can create another. Let's say we directly want to print it, we do not want to store it in another string. Okay, so what we'll do is that, from here, from index 0 to index 3 we want a substring. Okay, so what we'll do, we will print cout. Okay, s dot substr. Okay, from 0 index to 4 to 4 characters, right? 0 to 4, because these are 4 characters, right? Ahead of 0 index. Okay, and endl. Okay, okay, let's see how it works. Okay, let me take you to the Visual Studio Code again. Okay, let's change this. Okay, so let's say this is Priyansh. Okay, Priyansh. Okay, now let's try to print it, the substring. Okay, 0 to, let's say, 4 characters, right? First 4 characters. So let's try to execute the code. Okay, so it gives pre. Okay, the first 4 characters of the string. Now similarly, we can also, let's say we want to, we want a string from any particular index to the end. So what we'll do, we'll only give the index of that particular string, that particular character. So we want, let's say, let me take you back to the screen. Okay, so let's say we want a substring from this y to the end of the string. Okay, if we want a substring till the end of the string from any particular index, what we will do is that we will simply print s.substr and the index of the starting character. So the starting character is y and its index is 3. Okay, yeah, so simply if we print this, we will get y, a, and sh printed on the screen. Okay, let's check. Okay, so upon giving it index 3, let's see what we get as the output. Okay, yeah, so we get the output as Jans. Okay, so that was, yeah, that is absolutely correct. Okay, so we got to know about the substring function. Okay, now the substring function could be used in various places. Okay, now let's suppose you want to find a substring, or you want only some portion of the string. Let's say you want from index 1 to index 5 or index 6. Okay, in that case you can use substring. Okay, the first integer, this denotes the starting index from where you want to pick the substring. Okay, starting index. Okay, and this second integer denotes the number of characters that you want to pick. So I wanted to pick 4 characters, right? In this one I wanted to pick first 4 characters, so therefore I give it the value 4. Okay, yeah, so that was all about the substring function. Now let me take you to the next page. So the syntax of substring function, let me tell you again. Substr. Okay, this will be the starting index, and the second integer will denote the number of characters from the starting index that you want to consider in your substring. Okay, yeah, and in the front it will be the name of the string. In my case it was s. Okay, and we'll use a dot operator here. Okay, so yeah, this is how we use substring function. Now there are other functions as well. So there is a function, the second function, this is the length function. Okay, length function. Okay, so how to use this function? Let's suppose we have denoted a string, we have defined a string s, okay, we have initialized it with the with a string value India. Okay, now if we try to print, okay, if we try to print s dot length, okay, it gives us the length of the string. Okay, so length means the number of characters. Okay, so here there are five number of characters. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so the length would give us 5. It would give us 5 as the output. Let's see. So yeah, this was the string. Let's try to print the length of this string. Okay, s dot length, okay, and l. Okay, yeah, so if we try to print the length of the string, it gives us 8 because there are 8 characters in Priyansh. Okay, yeah, so that was all about the length function. Let's get back to the screen. Now finally we talk about the third function, which is find function. Okay, find. We give it the string, the substring actually, not the string. Okay, so here we'll give it a substring, and we will give it the index from where we have to start the search. Okay, let's suppose how to use it. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, so okay, so let's say we have a string, we have declared a string s, and let's say we have declared it giraffes are cool. Okay, okay, you can name the string anything. Okay, so let's say you name it this way. Okay, now you want to search whether a string occurs in the whether a substring occurs in the string or not. Let's say we want to search for this string cool. Okay, substring cool. Okay, so how do we search whether it occurs in the string or not. So we will what we'll do is that we will print s dot find uh, the substring. Let's say we want to search cool. Okay, and the cases should be same as well. Okay, so if this is a small case, so this should also be small cases. All the characters should match. Okay, and the starting index from where we have to start the search. Let's say I give it the index 0. Okay, from 0 it is going to start the search. Okay, so g represent index 0, and similarly the index moves on. Okay, so let us suppose c lies on the index 11. Okay, this is not the actual index, this is just that I have supposed this lies in the index on the index 11. Okay, so let's suppose c lies on the index 11. So this function prints the index of the first character of the substring that we are searching for. Okay, if we find that substring within the string. Okay, so let's say we were searching for cool. Okay, from the starting index 0 only. So when we reach index 11, we find the first character of the cool. So it will print the index of the first character, which is 11. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so let me erase the code and let's try to string s equals to, let's say, giraffe are cool animals. Okay, now let's say I want to find whether whether cool substring exists in this particular string. Okay, so I'll use the find function. I'll give the string, okay, that I have to search for, and I'll give the starting index, let's say 0. Okay, so it will give me the index of the c character, of the first character, okay, of the substring that I'm searching for. So let's see. So the index of c is 13, therefore 13 gets printed on the screen. Okay, yeah, so this was all about the string and the string functions, library functions we call these functions. Okay, the length function, the find function, and the substr function, these are all the library functions that we get along with the you know to work with strings. Okay, now finally I forgot to tell you one thing. Okay, which is the size function in the array. Okay, now if you are given an array, okay, int arr, let's say you are given an array like this. Okay, 4. Okay, so let's say there are 12, 13, 14 and 5. Okay, let's say this is the array. Now, you know, you can, let's suppose this is already defined. Okay, let's suppose we are not given the size of the array. We haven't declared the size of the array. Now in this case, what we will do to get the size of the array, int size, we'll use size of function. Okay, size of function. uh, what we'll write, we will give it size of, we'll give the name of the array. So size of arr we have to find. We'll divide it by size of a single integer value. Size of, you can take any integer value. I'm taking the integer at index 0. Okay, so yeah, so this will give us the size of the array when the size of the array is not defined. Okay, so the size was 4. Okay, so yeah, let's see if it works or not. Okay, so let us create an array. Okay, so int arr, let's say we haven't declared the size. Okay, 12, 13, 23, 11 and 4. Let's say this is the array. Now we want to find the size of the array. So let's say we create another integer variable and we use size of function. Size of the name of the array divided by size of any of the array element. I am taking the element at index 0. Even if you take element at index 1 or 2 or 3, the answer would be same. Okay, the index shouldn't be out of bound. Okay, now let's try to print the size of the array. Okay, cout size. Okay, and done. Let's see. So we get the size as 4. Okay, this size means the number of elements. So there are 4 number of elements, therefore the size is 4. Okay, so yeah, that was all about the arrays and strings in C++. So that's it for this video. Hope to see you in the next video.